Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaye Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidpishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yadeveha tadamutra
यदेवेह तदमुत्र
Yadamutra tadanviha
यदमुत्र
यदमुत्र
तदन्विह
तदन्विह
Mrityosya mrityumapnoti
मृत्योस्स
मृत्योश्च
मृत्युमाप्नोति
मृत्युमाप्नोति
Ya iha naneva pashyati.
यः
य इह
इह
नानेव
नानेव
पश्यति
पश्यति
ब्रह्मणः अन्यत् किंचित नास्ति कदाचित नास्ति कस्यचित नास्ति because and then it also said in the previous mantra brahmanah u na atyeti, nothing transcends Brahman because there is nothing else. Anyah kinchit nasti, everything is, earlier also we saw sarvatma bhavam, everything is only Brahman. In many ways, the Shruti showed us in the form of Hiranyagarbha, in the form of Virat, in the form of all the Devatas, all the Jivas, everything is nothing but Brahman. The Sarvatma Bhavam we looked at in great detail. This mantra is a Mahavakya mantra. Very clearly says that Jivatma, which looks like many Jivatmas because of Upadhi, and Paramatma, Samashti, which also looks different from this because of its own Upadhi. All Upadhis are Mithya. You can negate them easily. What is the only thing that exists in both cases is that Brahman. Brahmanaha anyaha kinchit nasti. There is only Brahman. So in this verse, it uses the word iha and amutra. We have seen these words earlier in other contexts. Ihamutrartha palabhoga is viragaha, tattva-buddha. There, iha and amutra have a slightly different meaning. Iha is in the Jagat that we experience every day. And there Amutra is post drop of the body, whichever loka one goes to, Swargaloka Ityadi, we call Amutra. Amutra comes from Adash Shabdam. And then Atra, there, locative. It is there, it is here. And there in the definition of Viraga, Iha Amutra Palabhogatha Viraga. The clarity by which we say that, okay, all this that I can gain here, Artha, Kama, etc., is not what I really am looking for. So some people say, yes, you're right. That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is Swarga. Therefore, I live my life as prescribed so that at the end of this life, I will go to Swargaloka. Not realizing that that is also part of the same Jagat. It is also Anitya. So the definition there says whether here or Amutra in other lokas, which is like postponed Arthakama only. In either places, I must have clarity that that is not what I'm looking for. But here, we use the word here, there, etc. very commonly in a number of different contexts. Here it uses the word Iha and Amutra in a slightly different interpretation. Iha, the Jiva Upadav, there is only Brahman, Chinmayam, Chaitanya Swarupam, Sarvasya Sakshi. And there the definition Brahmana Anyat Kinchit Nasti. And when he says Amutra, here it refers to Ishvara in any form. Samashti. There also there is Upadhi. So you have Ishvara Upadav, Jeev Upadav. In both cases, there is only one Brahman. Wave and ocean example makes it very easy to understand. Wave has a form, wave has a lifespan. Ocean has a different form, seems to have an infinite lifespan. From the ocean is born the wave. From the ocean only sustains that wave. And into the ocean dissolves. It is a Karanam. But both of them, in the wave also there is only water. In the ocean also there is only water. So Iha, Jiva Upadav, there is only Brahman. Amutra, Ishvara Upadav, the Karanam, Tatrapi, only Brahman. This is called sometimes Jaha Lakshanam. Jiva is only Lakshyate, Brahmanam Lakshyate. Only shows Brahman. Ishvara also only Brahman. Our famous example we've used many times about one person called what do we normally call him? One person.
Devadatta.
Yeah. No, same Devadatta. He looks different. He thinks different. He is does things differently. From the Devadatta I knew. That Devadatta was a young man 30 years ago with dark, curly, black hair. Was an out-and-out communist. Wanted to destroy the so-called rich. Had very strong ideas. Today is a balding, pot-bellied capitalist who definitely doesn't want to go and kill the rich people. Everything is different. There's nothing there that is common, visibly. And yet you identify him as the same Devadatta. He is probably looking at it the same way. This is not the Somadatta I knew. He looks different, he thinks different. He has 3 children. Very different. Well, what is it? How do you recognize that the same person? Behind that Devadatta of 30 years ago, there is some kind of an entity which had certain characteristics. Today, the same entity has different characteristics. So if we remove consciously those characteristics, you can't remove it from the, it's the same, you can't remove the characteristics from the person. He is fat, you can't do much about it. He is bored, you can't do much about it. He's become a capitalist, you can't do much about it. You can't remove that. It is today Devadatta. And yet, you're able to cognitively separate those differences. The lean, athletic young man from this pot-bellied old man who had black hair at the time, doesn't have it at all, forget about black or white, who was a staunch revolutionary. Today is scared of revolutionaries. You remove those things. And what is left? Soyam Devadatta. So what do? You take Jivatma. What makes it different? Every Jivatma you take. Why are they different from each other? Every Jivatma, if you can remove this variable, which is the Upadhi, you end up with the same thing. You do the same thing with Samashti Ishvara. Same thing. You mentally separate that Upadhi, it is the same Brahman, Nirguna Brahman. So he says, Yad eva iha, in this Jivatma, because of Upadhi, therefore we don't see it, Tadeva Amutra. In both cases, there is the Upadhi which looks like it is showing differences. So, Yadeva iha, Tad Amutreva. Yad Amutra, Tadanbiha, Tadu Anbiha, iha. So, whatever is there in the form Vishnu, look at this in Mahavakyam. Jiveshwara Aikyam. to be able to see through all the differences, apparent differences, and see that in both cases, in all cases, there is only Brahman. Tad Srishtva Upavishat, we say, it entered into the entire Jagat, having created the Jagat. Everywhere you think of Eva, as though having created the Jagat, as though having entered into everything in the Jagat. That everything includes space, it includes Vayu, it includes time. Everything is non-separate from that one Brahman. So this is a Mahavakyam. So yad eva iha tadamutra, yad amutra tadanviha. But it's not obvious, it's not clear at all. How can why is it that it's not visible? We are all very intelligent people. Bhagavan has given us very high IQ levels. We have looked at the whole world. We've analyzed the world in so many different ways. And yet we can't see it. How can Shastra make a statement like that? What do you see? I see variety. I see many, many, many. Because I'm seeing only the Upadhi. Like the famous lady who goes to buy a gold chain. The shopkeeper spreads in front of her dozens of gold chains. Some small, some big, some intricately worked, some very plain, some flat, some woven into different shapes. She sees all that. But what one needs to do is go into that and say, okay, what is it that sustains all that? The Atma, which is the bullion trader's point of view. So generally, we only see the differences that we see because of Upadhi. Then we start breaking it down. All the differences we say, these are sentient, this is insentient. This is humankind, that is animal kind. This is plant. We make all the differences. We define them. You have to define them because in this Jagat there are differences and you don't want to kick a stone just the way you would kick a football. They are different. They're not the same. But in and through all these differences between man and man, between man and woman, between different people, somebody looks crazy to us. Somebody is sitting in America today. To the whole world looks crazy, but America thinks he's a great guy. We make our own definitions of the differences. Like our Devadatta told those people who met him after 30 years, they're discussing later. Oh, he's changed, no? He used to be such a different person. I can't even barely recognize him. We make the differences. Now we understand what that means by saying as though. Because we are not looking at the what is the adhisthana, what is the basis for all of these things. Everything is only one Brahman. Na anyat. But then we see differences. If you ask everybody in this world, almost all of us will say, of course they're different. How can you say bitter gourd is the same as mango? Even within fruits and vegetables. They're different. They taste different. They look different. If you were able to look further in, I am different. He is different. She is different. And then when I see these differences, that means I have not yet truly understood the reality. I'm still looking at it from a very limited viewpoint, which is true of everybody in the world. Even the person who is understood still sees these, but his view is slightly changed. He says, I see these differences, but in and through or beyond these differences, I see Brahman. There is only Brahman. Therefore, yadeva iha tad amutra. Yad amutra tad anviha. But if you don't see the aikyam, what happens? Shruti says, iha nana eva pashyati. Sees all the differences and only the differences. He is not able to see beyond that. It is like our famous the lady buying gold chain sees only the chains, doesn't recognize what is the adhishthanam there. But really speaking, in through all these chains, you do see gold. In fact, so much so that the lady, the shopkeeper tells that this is 14 carat, this is 22 carat, she knows. But her viewpoint is only with that. What looks beautiful when I wear it to the party tomorrow? How will people respond? Nana eva pashyati. The Shruti very nicely does not say Nana pashyati. Nana eva pashyati. There is no Nana. Nana means variety. There is no Nana. But Shruti very specifically says Nana eva pashyati. There is only one Vastu. The one who doesn't see the one Vastu sees duality. So what? I say duality. It's true. I love this gold chain. That one is not so good. It is too chunky. It has more gold, but it doesn't look good. I want that fine work. When they look at this only at the level of this upadhi, stay there only. Iha nana iva pashyati. What happens? Mrityoho sa mrityum apnoti. In the context of this understanding, never gets freed from the cycle of death and therefore birth. Goes on and on and on. It's a cycle, just keep going down and down. Birth, new karma, death of the body, new birth, new karma. That cycle continues. Pratyoha means also janma. Because Yamadharmaraja is talking, he says, no question, they'll come to me. And then get recreated another Sharira. Mrityoho samrityum apnoti. That is why Acharya in the introduction to this mantra says, Yad Brahmadi Stavaranteshu Vartamanam Tad Upadikatvat, because of the Upadhi, Abbrahmavat Avabhasamanam Samsari. You look at those and see only as though Abbrahmavat. It looks like that. They don't see Anyat Parasmat Brahmanaha, different from that Brahman. This Devadatta is different from the Devadatta I knew earlier because of changes in the Upadhi. But still I recognize the Devadatta. Can I do that in the entire Jagat? See only one Brahman, Nirguna. Later he will talk about it. How can he do that? This means I will never escape from the cycle of birth, karma, karmaphala, sharira, etc. Round and round. So Acharya says, just to make sure that that kind of doubt does not arise, idam aha. Yadeva iha tadamutra, yadamutra tadanviha, mrityoha samrityumapnoti, ya iha nana eva pashyati. Acharya elaborates on this. Yadeveha Karya Karana Upadhi Samanvitam
Karya Upadhi Samanvita
Samsara Dharmavat
Samsara Dharmavata
Avabhasamanam
Avabhasamanam
Yad eva iha Karya Karana Upadhi Samanvitam. Here in this Jagat, all the Jivatmas are there because of the Upadhi, because of the Karya Karana Sanghata, the body-mind sense complex, which is the Upadhi, in the form of the body-mind sense complex, Samanvitam, associated with. Every jiva is associated with its own Upadhi. What happens because of the association? The Upadhi dharma is what we see. Like that gold chain, which is fine filigree work, is one form. A chunky gold chain is another form. That Upadhi dharmam we superimpose on the gold. So he says, having associated with this Upadhi dharma, iha samsara dharmavat avabhasamanam. Therefore, you see only samsara. Avabhasamanam is that is seen, appears as though having samsara dharma. What is samsara dharma? All that we've been studying all this time. Samsara dharma includes all the senses, the sense objects, after which the senses go, karma, karma phala, all of them based on not knowing the truth because of avidya. So, samsara dharmavat, here also it says samsara dharmavat. We see them only as though samsara dharma. Samsara dharma, dharmavata avabhasamanam. What causes this to happen? Why do we see that? Why are we not able to see beyond this? Why do we get stuck at that level? Part of the reason is because occasionally we do question this, but we don't get really satisfactory answers. In gold chain, you can ask that fellow, is this 14 karat gold or 24 karat gold? You can go behind that. In this, we can't see, nobody's able to tell us in a way that we understand. That is why we go looking for Guru. I don't understand. I know there's something wrong here. Can you explain this to me? And since we go seeking that answer, therefore, Gita says, Bhagavan says in the Gita, Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, look for the answers. Why does this happen? Because of ignorance. It's very clear. Ignorance of the truth. I know there is something beyond. I don't know what. And I don't know where to look for it. Just look at this. That answer is available only in one place. In the pramana, or Shabda pramana, in the Shastra. But by itself is not good enough. I know Sanskrit, I can read that, let me find out, or I can read a translation. You will never get it. Therefore, Shastra always associated with a Guru. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. That's the only source available for us. Now, 90% of the Jagat don't have access to this. They either don't have access to Shastra or to the Guru. Very rarely do you have access to both. There's only very few people go looking for it. So I love that Gita shloka. Manushyanam sahasretu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Yatatanam siddhanam kaschit mam vetti tattvataha. Who understands the truth of the self. Me as Ishvara, he as Jiva, same. What is the truth? Idam. Yadeviha tadamutra. Yadamutra tadanviha. This is the truth. Only very few people have the necessary readiness to gain this knowledge. So he says, therefore, who is it who does not understand avivekinam? Can you put that back on? Avivekinam
Avivekinam
tadeva swatmastham.
Deva Swasmastam.
Those aviveki who has not seen that distinction between what is that which is behind it, what is the Atma, sees only up to the Anatma, Upadhi driven, and that's all he sees. Tadeva swatmastham, within oneself, that what we see is even in Ishvara, Amutra, we see only an Ishvara who is all powerful, all knowledge. But that all power, all knowledge is only Saguna Brahman. I need to look into it and say, on what basis does it stand? Nitya Vijnana Ghana Swabhavam
Nityabhignanadana Sabhavam
Svabhavam
Sarva Samsara Dharma Varjitam
Sarva
Dharma
Samsara
Varjitam
Dharma
Brahma.
Varjitam
Sarva Samsara Dharma Varjitam Brahma. Amutra and Iha, through both we should be able to see Nitya Vijnana Ghana Swabhavam. That which is Nitya, as different from all other things which are all Anitya. Nitya Anitya is not really to do with time. In fact, there is a very big difference between these two. Nitya is that which has no relation to time at all. Anitya stays within the bounds of time. Our normal expression of Anitya and Nitya within the Jagat, Nitya stays for a long, long, long time. It's free in all three states of time. But here Nitya really means that which is Trikala Atitaha. Not just within the Trikala, which transcends the three kalas. So, Nitya Vijnana Ghana Swabhavam. Vijnana Ghana is the Nya Dhatvartha here. Sarva Samsara Dharma Varjitam Brahma. We don't see the Brahman, which has nothing to do with samsara, because samsara is only iva, as though. Sarva samsara dharma varjitam. No characteristics, no attributes. What is samsara dharma? Joy, sorrow, achievement, failures, success, failures, labha. That's why Bhagavan very clear. All these are samsara dharma. Any dvandva is samsara dharma. That which has nothing to do with samsara dharma. Sarva samsara dharma varjitam. Nothing to do with samsara dharma. You know, this step is critical, but then also another step beyond that. That samsara dharma varjita Brahman aham. You've got to come to that eventually. So far, what is he saying? Aikyam between Jiveshwara. Aikyam comes from the fact that both are nothing but Brahman. I can understand now. Therefore, he is also Brahman. Bhagavan is also Brahman. What about I? I'm also Brahman. That I is not different from he or she or it. Yes, yeah. As long as I say I and I can imagine only this body mind sense complex, I will always have this problem of nanatvam. It's a tough proposition. Because as long as I'm interacting with the Jagat, I have to have that nanatvam also. At the same time, I should be able to recognize the Aikyam. For transactional purposes, I have to understand one different from the other. But for understanding, I have to be able to see the Aikyam. Once the Aikyam is clear, then even this nanatvam you see becomes only as though, apparent nanatvam. Nanatvam doesn't go away. Duality is not something to go away. But your viewpoint has changed. So, sarva samsara dharma varjitam brahma. Therefore, whatever is here in the Jivatma, here we saw. Iha meaning in the Jivatma, along with its Upadhi. We need to be able to see the Brahman, which is Nitya Vijnana Ghana Swabhavam Sarva Samsara Dharma Varjitam Brahman. See what is the real Adhishthanam Atma. Same thing with Amutra. Amutra here talking about Samashti. Not that there is some relationship. We always think of the Devas living in the different Devalokas and Ishvara on top of all of them. But the Ishvara also, Amutra, Yatacha Amutra. Here Amutra is Samashti Ishvara. Amushmin Atmani. In that Amushman is again there. Atmani, Saptami. Sthitam. There also you should be able to see by cognitively recognizing the upadhis which are different and separating them. Tad anu iha, tadeva iha nama rupa karya. You should read this. Yacha amutra,
Nityamutra,
amushmin atmani,
Amushmin Atmani
hitam,
Hitam
tadanu iha, tadeva iha,
Tadeva
Tadeva Iha
nama rupa karya karana upadhim,
Nama
Nama
Rupa
Karya
Karya Karano
Upadhim
Upadhim
Upakarya
anu vibhavyamanam nanyat.
Anuvibhavyamanam
Yamanam
Na
Nanyat.
Anyat.
So there also amutra, that means in Ishvara with its upadhi, amushmin atmani sthitam, recognize what is the atma there also, what is the adhishthanam there also, tadanu iha, tadeva iha, same Brahman, nama rupa karya karana upadhim anu vibhavyamanam, knowing what is the adhishthanam. For Ishvara also is the same adhishthanam. Because here it said upadhi gives you samsara guna. There it says karya karana upadhi. Karya karana upadhim. Karya karana upadhim anu vibhavyamanam, knowing only na anyat. There is nothing other than Brahman. That's how we started, right? Brahmanaha na u anyat. There is nothing other than Brahman. We see Ishvara because of Mithya Upadhi. And we can see many devatas because of many Mithya Upadhis. We see Jiva, several billion of them, because of Upadhi. All Upadhis are Mithya. One has to be able to see through on all of them. Vibhavyamanam na anyat. But if you don't see this, what happens? This being so, it is not obvious. What is obvious is only the duality, like our Murari. See, only duality is obvious. Everybody knows. Just because everybody says the same thing, it does not become the truth. Tatraivam sati
Advaivam Sati
Tatraivam Sati
upadhi swabhava bheda drishti lakshanaya
Upadhi Swabhava Veda Drishti Lakshanaya
avidyaya
अविद्यया
मोहितः सन्
मोहितः सन्
मोहितः
य
सन्
इह
य
य
इह
इह
ब्रह्मणि
ब्रह्मणि
अनानाभूते
अनानाभूते
परस्माद् अन्य अहम्
परस्माद् अन्य अहम्
अन्यहं
मत्तः अन्यत् परं ब्रह्म इति
मत्तः अन्यत् परं ब्रह्म इति
नाना इव
नाना इव
भिन्नम् इव पश्यति
भिन्नम् इव पश्यति
तत्रैवं सति. This being so, being so means what? That there is only Brahman. Whether you look at Ishvara, whether you look at any Jiva, whether you look at even non-Jiva, the same, there is only Brahman. This being so, Upadi Swabhava Veda Drishti Lakshanaya. By looking only the Upadi, and therefore seeing the differences, which is what all of us tend to do. And when we try to study Vedanta, we try and dig a little deeper into it, try and understand what it says. But generally, all humanity looks at Upadi Swabhava Bheda Drishti Lakshanaya. The Bheda Drishti is because of Upadi. And why is that? Avidya Mohitaha San. Because of the confusion created by Avidya, not knowing the truth, and seeing only the Upadi and the differences in the Upadi, Avidyaya Mohita San, Ya Iha Brahmani Anana Bhute. All the differences, Nanatvam. Parasmad Anyaha Aham. Come to the next listing. No? I am different. I am what I am. How can I be Ishvara? Ishvara is different. Hey, you are different. He is not a good guy. How can I say that I am the same as him? He is a violent man. I am not a violent person. How can you say the same? In essence, we are the same. Upadi is different. But we don't see that. Tatraivam sati upadi svabhava bheda drishti lakshanaya avidyaya mohita san ya iha brahmani anana bhute parasmad anyaha aham. I am different, Ishvara is different. I am very clear. I can't be Ishvara. Any Dvaitin will teach only that. Anything other than Advaita will only say that you are different. But from our reading of the Shastra, it's very clear that there is an error. I don't even call it an error. I'm saying that is, let's say, only one part of the movement, one step. You see that. But you know also simultaneously your own reasoning says that that cannot be true. Because when I start examining the I get into all kinds of tangle. And go back to the question that Nachiketa asked in the very beginning, what happens after death? Every religion tells you that something survives after death. The body is either buried or burnt, we don't know. So what form does it take? So if I go to another loka, Vaikuntha or wherever, or heaven, or Jannat or wherever, do I find other people in the same form? How do you recognize them? That fellow was my neighbor and he kept causing me trouble all the time, fighting with me for parking. Why do I want him there? So all kinds of problems come. And yet, we are unable to get over this without help from the Shastra. Anana bhute parasmad anyah aham mattah anyat param brahma iti nana iva. Very clear. Nana, Iva only. Therefore, I see all the variety. Variegated Jagat. Number of different people. No two look alike, no two think alike, no two behave alike. And yet, because of avidya mohitaha san, because of avidya, anana bhute parasmad anyaham mattaha anyat param brahma iti nana eva. That's how I get the nanatvam. Root cause, mula vidya. Let's read further. Brahma iti nana eva.
ब्रह्म इति नाना इव
Bhinnamiv
भिन्नमिव
pashyati upalabhate.
पश्यति उपलभ्यते
Upalabhate. Same thing. One who sees this multiplicity, who sees I am different from everything else is different from everything else, everything is different from Ishvara. Mattaha anyat param brahma iti nana iva bhinnam iva. Different things. Pashyati. Sees that so many different things are there. Saha mrityoho maranat maranam mrityum punah punah janma marana bhavam apnoti pratipadhyate. Such a person, very clear. Saha mrityoho, that means maranat, means the same thing. Maranam mrityum punah punah janma marana bhavam apnoti. That means in this samsara cycle forever. As long as one sees these differences, swalpamapi. See, you can't say, no, I see some difference, although I see there are not many differences. The moment you say difference, it is nanatva. You can't say, no, I have a little bit only, I see the difference. I don't see all the differences. I see difference between Ishvara and I, but between everything in the Jagat, I don't see difference. How can you do that? It's all duality only. Mrityuhu punah punah janma marana bhavam apnoti pratipadhyate. Again and again and again goes through the same janma, then all the shadvikara, mrityu, janma again. Janma marana bhavam apnoti, samsara bhavam apnoti. Tasmat tatha
तस्मात्
तस्मात्
तथा
तथा
na pashyet.
न पश्येत्
Acharya says, be careful. Pashyati, earlier he said, he who sees, he will go into this. Therefore, please don't see like that. Look carefully. Understand what the truth is. Tasma, therefore, tata na pashyet. Don't just see superficially. Vijnana ekarasam
विज्ञानेकरसं
nairantaryena
नैरन्त्येन
akashavat
आकाशवत्
आकाशवत्
paripurnam
परिपूर्णं
brahmaiva ahamasmiti
ब्रह्म एव अहमस्मि इति
pashyet iti vakyartha.
पश्येदिति वाक्यार्थः.
That Acharya is explaining this is the meaning. When he says mrityosa mrityum apnoti saha naneva pashyati, please don't get stuck in that. What do you do then? Vijnana ekarasam. Ekarasam is single, there's no change, no variation, no change. Ekarasam na antaryena, without breaks, without gaps in between. na antaryena, without gaps, nirgatam antaram, no gaps, no breaks, etc. Akashavat, like space. You can't break space. Break is one. Well, space is one. Akashavat, paripurnam, totality, the infinite. Earlier, if you want to escape from the pasha of Yamadharmaraja, you only have to understand. Nothing else is revealed. Naintaryena akashavati paripurnam brahma eva aham asmi iti. So first I said, no, that recognize that in every jivatma there is only Brahman, and in Paramatma also there is only Brahman. I can look at it from a third person point of view, saying, oh, like this everywhere. But what about I? As long as I have the I and associate with this Sharira and all that is in the Sharira, I will have the same problem. So you say, Brahmaiva ahamasmi iti, that Brahman which is only Ekameva Advitya Brahman, ahameva tat. Iti pashyet. Again, Acharya says, this is the Artha. This is what Shastra is trying to tell us. Try to understand, try to see that while there is Nanatvam, in and through all the Nanatvam that you can perceive, there is only one Brahman. Ekameva Advitya Brahman is all there is. If you recognize that with the help of Shastra and a Guru, this is what the Artha of this mantra is. Mantra doesn't say that. Mantra is Mrityosa Mrityum Apnoti Saha Naneva Pashyati. Don't get stuck with that. Acharya says, try and understand. Brahmaiva aham asmi iti pashyet iti vakyarthaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Tat Sat.
Om Swamiji.
Om Swamiji.
नमस्कारः धन्यवादाः पुनः
Thank you.
श्वः
Namaskara.
रामः